Hello and welcome. My name is Marc Blatstein, the physician who founded Physician Pre-Sentence Report Service. Today's YouTube covers how you can help yourself get through the BOP and home the quickest. You have stakeholders and they control all aspects of your life for the near future. And how quickly that passes, for the most part, depends on you. You have stakeholders. And the stakeholders, these are your attorney. The attorney knows nothing about you, but will control what gets presented to the court. The prosecutor, well, they just want to convict you. The probation officer as a stakeholder is going to listen to you, and they're going to then write their pre-sentence interview, draft it into the official pre-sentence report, pass it to the judge, along with what they feel is a just sentence for you. Then, once you're in the BOP, it's all going to be on you, and it's about how you can advocate for yourself. It's about what you can do for you. And your unit team and case managers, these are your stakeholders there, and they have a lot of influence. The topics starts with the judge. And if everybody's done their work, then by the time of the interview, the pre-sentence interview, your narrative and your reentry plan have been done and written into the pre-sentence report. And that's important. Because when you get to the sentencing hearing, that means that the judge has read your narrative. And up until that point, all he has to go on is a narrative that's been written by the Department of Justice in the form of your indictment. And so now he's beginning to get a more humanized view of who you are. You've accepted responsibility, have remorse, you understand the pain that you've put the victims through the reentry plan. You've also gone ahead and you've understood the First Step Act to the point where you could then answer the judge's questions when he asks you point blank, he or she asks you point blank, what's your plan to not reoffend? Because you will be asked that. The case managers, once you're in the Bureau of Prisons, as I said, they're they're very influential. And as such, through the First Step Act, you're going to want to take there's a Spark 13 assessment. When you take the assessment, there's questions. And if they decide to ask you the questions verbally while you're there and write them in themselves, as opposed to you doing it on the email system, because this wasn't around. I too was convicted of a felony almost 20 years ago. I did get my license back in 2010 to practice, but as I was unprepared for everything that I felt I needed to be prepared for, from the preparing for sentencing to getting into the BOP, I decided to make a career change. I don't want you to have to go through what I went through. So I'm trying to get all of you prepared. So I'm going to walk you through the website because the content is there and available. And so back to the questions from the survey, Spark 13, to allow you to take the First Step Act programs. There are questions there. And if they actually start talking to you, well, you want to be able to answer them intelligently. And so I have the questions are there, and you can begin to weave those answers into your reentry plan, because the case managers, they can offer at the appropriate time, as long as you're doing your part, second chance. And they can put you in for that without you even having to ask. And all of these things are in your control. So with that said, let me start seeing if I can figure this out and take us all through the website, because this part is on me. So if I do this, that did not work. Let's try this. And we're going to go to share screen. Okay. That worked. That's good. And I think we've got it. All right. So here we are on, I'm going to start with, there's the website, Physician Presentence Report Service. And there are several tabs up. We're not going to go through all of them. I'm going to enter on this one. When you get into your sentencing hearing, what's the one thing that is going to differentiate you from everyone else that goes into the judge's courtroom? I mean, this is a big thing, pretty important. And so if you've done your personal narrative, I don't know if you can see this, the allocution, the reentry plan, all of this has been merged, if you will, into the pre-sentence interview, along with your health care. Most of your pre-sentence interview is done, but it's done in a way that is good for you as you prepare for the sentencing hearing. And in preparation for the sentencing hearing, a lot of we'll get into at another point in time is that regarding, let's say, the First Step Act, any programs that they offer you to take, you want to take them and be grateful. Because if you refuse to take them, then what happens is that can negatively affect you being offered future programs, as well as being able to earn early release. So you want to take all of those programs. In addition, if you have any financial penalties, you want to offer to participate in the financial responsibility program. That's a big deal. If you have millions and millions of dollars and you're going to be taking in thousands of dollars every month, offer a couple $100 a month as part of the plan. If you have a couple $100,000 you owe in some sort of financial responsibility or restitution, maybe, $25 a month or $25 a quarter or $75 a quarter, maybe that will work. But you want to do something because the Department of Justice is pushing very hard to be able to swoop in and take 75% of what's in someone's commissary account. So I don't ever advise anyone to keep a lot of money in your commissary account. That would be a very big mistake. In addition, you want to document every time you're offered a class, you want to document in some sort of journal, log, anything. Personally, I recommend there are softback journals that you can get online through Amazon. I would buy everything, all your books, which I've discussed in other YouTubes, through Amazon paperbacks. But there are journals, notebooks with line pages, but you need to have writing on the pages. You can't have blank pages because the Federal Bureau of Prisons will not let them in. They need to have lined pages. And you need to document each one because there's a case here that I'll bring up for a second where the gentleman or the person who was taking classes or taking the classes said that he said that the petitioner thought he had 365 days and the BOP only offered him 75. So it's a very big deal. So you want to be able to document everything you do. And so what and others suggest is that you write a synopsis, day, date, time of every class you attend, what you've learned, the person that taught the class, so that you have an ongoing calendar log of everything that you do that you can show in an organized fashion, not individual pieces of paper. And you can begin with one to show to the case manager, but as it grows, you're going to stand out to your case manager. As I continue through here, when you go ahead and have that meeting with your case manager, there's going to be a risk assessment survey you're going to ask to take. but the risk assessment survey is going to have questions in it. And so you want to go ahead and with those questions, you want to be able to know those questions exist, have answers to those questions so that you can weave it in to your reentry plan and narrative before the pre-sentence interview. And so we're going to scoot right here over to the first step back page. And so we're going to come up here, and here's the first step back page. All of these programs, well, we're not there yet, but we're on the page. Colette Peters, if you had to be in prison, she's probably going to be the best you could hope to get for it. The new director of prisons didn't come up through the ranks in corrections. She came through psychology as a background. For those of you who want to continue your education and you're going to be in prison for a long time, this is a list of participating colleges and universities that participate with the Pell Grant program through the Second Chance Act. You can just click on the link there and it will come up with the participating universities or colleges. Continuing. This is an article you can go look at on your own. The Forbes article just says that the BOP and their original wisdom has decided not to count the first assessment towards letting you have 15 credits a month. I don't know if they can do that, but this will work its way out somehow. Getting to the programs, I start with a few up here. Here's the first one. If you have dementia, this is I published several chapters in here with attorney Faye Spence in December 2022, published by the American Bar Association. The title is Representing People with Dementia. But what I'm going to go ahead and point out here is that if this is you or someone you know or love, or if you're an attorney, there's only one location in the country that has this. And so you click on the link, and lo and behold, it's going to come up with Federal Medical Center Memory Disorder Unit at Federal Medical Center, Devens. First of its kind, has 35 beds in it. And I don't think that the Federal Bureau of Prisons has any more than that. So these are the 13 components of the assessment system. This goes through it. And then we get into all of the evidence-based as well as program activities. So why am I bringing these up? You can look at these and see there are some of these that may or may not be appropriate to you. So from a satellite view, let's say the case manager offers you to take anger management. Let's open it up. And we're going to see that anger management, when it finally opens, is completed 18 hours. It's available at all institutions, and it addresses anger and hostility. Okay. But you don't have any anger or hostility issues. Well, guess what? You're going to say thank you and take the program. Because every program that you take, every month's worth of programs, is going to be worth, to start, 10 credits. After 2 successful assessments, at a minimum or a low, now it's 15 days of credits. So 15 credits. So this is where you want to be. So now I'm going to go through and show you a couple. I'm going to pick out a few. So this is Female Integrated Treatment Program, FIT. This is for females inmates who have substance use problems and trauma or PTSD issues. It used to be in the Federal Bureau of Prisons that if someone who had PTSD or other issues like that, they had to go into one particular prison, and then if they also had a substance abuse issue, then transfer. Well, here, what they've done is they brought everything under one roof, and which is great, but there's a caveat, and the caveat is it's only available at 2. So you need to know this ahead of time. I'm going to find another one, and I'm picking out the ones I know, which are the extreme, just so that you know. And so you have a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. Okay, we'll open up that. And we can see momentarily. Following characteristics: long-term restricted housing, which will make anybody unstable. So I don't know that applies here. It applies everywhere. Pattern of behavior, disruptive behavior, but guess what? It's only located in 2 prisons. Again, you need to know this. We're going to come up with another one. And guess what? It's also going to be the same if you're autistic. Mind you, there's probably, a lot of, not a lot, but there's probably people who are autistic who are coming down with a felony. And you can be autistic and maybe have a low grade, I don't know, sexual crime, but really you're just autistic. I'm not saying, because I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a psychiatrist, but there is only 2 prisons in the country. And so, you really need to know, you need to bring in specialists, psychiatric specialists for those clients. You need to have the current treating physicians, everybody involved for those particular individuals. We're all familiar with the drug abuse program. It's in a plethora of programs, plethora of prisons. These are the productive activities. And again, there's a lot. I'm trying to find one that is, I think there's one, this. Frank Covey does it, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Or Secrets, I forget the name of the book, but it's really a very good book. This is probably a very excellent program on interpersonal skills. At all programs, if it's offered, I take it. It's probably a great program, depending on who's teaching it. And so we're going to now get back up here to the top, and we're going to go through. So you go in to meet your case manager, and they're going to maybe ask you some questions. Well, here's the form. Now, this may be on their computer or a tablet. I'm not sure how it comes. As I said, I was in the BOP almost 20 years ago, and just shy of 20. I'm grateful I had my license back in 2010. And as I said, I chose to change careers. But here are the questions that you'll be asked. How'd you learn about the First Step Act? Well, you said you researched it. You heard about it. You went on the BOP website. How are needs identified? Just go online and read it. How are you going to do that? Well, there's an easy way to do that. We come down here. In addition to going to the BOP, there's another set of questions. Go right down here, the needs assessment. Just click on that link. And there we go. And it'll go through First Step Act needs assessment. And it gives you most of that information right here. But you can also go to the BOP website, which I can show you. Right here. Just again goes through all the programs that I have listed. These are new ones that I've made that note for myself. But you can see all of the programs here, has all the curriculum, and it lists all of them. And then the programs are just like I have them listed below. And so, let's see, what do I have there for? We've done that. And so reentry planning is tying all of this together. You've done you've spoken with the case managers. regarding the reentry plan, you're documenting what's going on as far as each class you're taking. Well, you also need to be documenting. You should be also bringing in books that you are reading all the time, nonfiction books. And the nonfiction books are going to be something that's going to teach you something. It's going to be something that where you learn a biography, a history, life skills, anything that will teach you what you can, things that you can learn. Let me see if I can get you to a more of a better spot. Okay, let's see. Going with less time here. Let's see. So where I want to go is defense attorney. All right. Ending memorandum. We've done that. Elocution. Okay. So now you want to go ahead and you want to have books in it. And start sending books a couple days before you get there. And they're books that you can learn from. And what you want to do is do a small book type report on each book, with a part on the author, why you wrote the book, and why you chose the book, and something that you've learned from the book, softback. And I have all kinds of books here that are just good to read. The Gift by Eve Eger. She survived the Holocaust. We all know Steve Jobs, Nelson Mandela. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Great book. Power of Habit. It's probably, I think, an important one to read because this is a new habit for most people, me included. I mean, journaling all the time, but no one's going to pay you to play baseball or basketball full time. If you do this every day and develop that habit, it'll be seen. You'll be seen doing incremental improvement type work, which will be noticed by correction staff and by your unit team. Rich Dad Poor Dad. 3 Laws of Performance, a great book. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It's a different book, but the same author, same family that wrote the book that is, of course, in the school. And so there's all kinds of people. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. There are books, and then you can go on your own and start, just continue reading about things that you're interested in. And at some point, it may transfer over to a skill that's something maybe that you want to do once you leave prison, because eventually you're going to leave. It's temporary. I hope you have found all of this helpful. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day or night to listen, and stay safe.